Hey, Steve Saretsky here. Just want to put together a video on the November market report. So just did two posts on my website. I did split it up into the detached market report and the condo and townhouse market reports. So those are in the description below. So basically where to start, I'm going to start with the detached market, which is now, as of November, entered its fourth consecutive month into a buyer's market. Prices have really been correcting for roughly about 6 months. You won't see that, I think, in the in the MLS benchmark. It actually starts correcting in September, but the prices have really been correcting for about 6 months now. So first of all, I'll start with sales. For the month of November, sales are down 52% year over year. That's from November 2015 to November 2016. So they're down 52% year over year. They're actually 30% below the 10-year average for November. So this is not like a little bit of a cool down. Like, this is like a full-on correction in the detached market. Like I said, 52% year over year. Obviously, yes, 2015 was a good year, but then it's 30% below the 10-year average. So it's significant for the detached market. With that, right now, I think most realtors will tell you that prices are down roughly in most areas. It seems to be about 15%. This is what it's showing in the average and the median, which is, again, real-time data. Some of these areas, though, if you actually look into areas like Surrey, South Delta, is actually about the detached markets roughly about 20% off the peak prices from late spring. Again, that's not just looking at the average and the median, because I know people will try and find some flaws in those. But if you actually look at the comparable sales, if you actually pull one property and look at what it sold for in March and what another comparable property is selling for today in November, it's actually, in some of those areas, it's about 20%. And having conversations with some realtors that specialize in those areas, again, that's confirmed. It's 20%. Most homeowners, most people don't even understand this. Maybe don't want to admit it. But the sooner we can kind of face the facts, then the better. So the detached market is, in most areas, it's about 15%. I think that's the safe bet. But again, the big thing right now is how much sales are moving. Like I said, 52% year over year, substantial. The demand seems to really be out of the market, especially on the single family home side. With that being said, I would expect December to continue its cool down. Obviously, it's a really slow month. Inventories are starting to creep up again in the single family homes as well. They're not quite at normal levels, but they are starting to creep up significantly from where they were even in 2015. As for the condo market, I'm going to talk about the condo market and then move into the townhouse market. So the condo market, for the most part, is still relatively hot. I would still consider it a seller's market. That's obviously what the numbers are showing us too, in terms of sales to active ratio, as well as months of inventory. It remains quite low. The big thing here to understand is there's definitely been a change in the condo market. Sales year over year are down 22%. So they're down 22% year over year, but they're actually still slightly above the 10-year average. I don't have the number off the top of my head, but it is above the 10-year average. So sales are still doing well. The market's still doing well in the condo market. But inventory is actually extremely low. Inventory actually, we had record low inventories last year in 2015, and then we had record sales. What we're seeing this year is sales have dropped 22%, but inventory has actually gotten even lower. So you would think that should actually put more pressure on prices as the inventory drops. That should actually cause prices to go up even further. That's not what we're seeing, and I think that's a telltale sign of what is happening in the market in terms of buyer expectations. A lot of people are hesitant to pull the trigger right now. So with lower inventory and lower sales, I'm seeing the real estate board of Greater Vancouver is showing, and the average and the median is showing a 3% correction from the peak in June. I see for most comps in a lot of areas it's roughly about 5%. I don't know, maybe some realtors won't agree with that, but that's what I'm seeing in the comps. But again, the average and the median for the real estate board of Greater Vancouver is showing 3%. So it's anywhere in there, but I think the interesting to note is although maybe prices haven't moved, you're seeing sales start to come down, and prices obviously at minimum are flatlining, and they're flatlining in spite of extremely low inventory, like historic low inventories, lower than 2015. But in 2015, we had set a record. So that kind of moves me into the townhouse market, and it's kind of the same thing that we're seeing as the condo market, but on kind of a more advanced scale. So basically, townhouse sales year over year have dropped 40%. So condos were 22%, detached was 52%. Townhouses sales year over year are 40%. So that's substantial. It's huge. So there's been a huge cool down in the townhouse market. And then, you can try and justify that 2015 was a really good year for sales. But townhouse sales are now 10% below the 10-year average. So, I mean, it's been a substantial change from what we saw a year ago. With that being said, inventory levels in townhouses as well actually dropped from 2015. So I think it's roughly a 3% drop in inventory from 2015 to 2016. So this November, our inventory in townhouses actually dropped. So you think that would instantly put more pressure on prices, because we already had historic low inventory levels, but it hasn't done that. And so sales have dropped 40%, inventory's dropped 3%, to all-time record lows right now. But again, we're not seeing a downward pressure on price, which is a really telltale sign of what's happening. It's a total reversal effect of what happened the year before in 2015. In 2015, we saw almost a 50%, I believe it was around 50% reduction in inventory, and sales went up 33%. So inventory down 50%, sales up 30%. But this year, it's inventory down 3%, sales down 33%. So it's a total reversal in the townhouse market right now. Again, I'm seeing roughly about 5% in the townhouse market. The Greater Vancouver average and median are showing 3% from the peak. Again, I'm seeing 5%. In some areas, it's a little more. It seems to be the kind of those outskirts they're getting hitting the hardest right now, and that's areas like Surrey, South Surrey, in particular, those ones that I've been really looking at. So that's the overall market. I think that as we head into December, that's a really, really slow month. Not a whole lot of sellers decide to put their homes in the market, obviously with the holidays coming up. What you're going to see is a massive influx of inventory coming in the new year. That's when inventory starts to pick up. I think that from what I gather in conversations and talking with sellers and other realtors who have clients that are selling, is most of them appear to be holding off until the spring, especially in the detached market. A lot of them are optimistic that the market's going to turn around in the spring, so they want to try and capitalize on that. So I think historically, we'll see a significant rise in the amount of inventory coming up here in the new year and into the spring. I think we'll see more than obviously what we saw in 2015. So I think we're going to have quite a bit more inventory coming on, and I don't think that, personally, I don't think the demand will be there to meet it. I think that you're already seeing that with sales, 52% in the detached, 40% in the townhouses, 22% in the condos. That's all significant. So I think that's just kind of where we're heading. It's really hard to say. Obviously, you need to formulate your own decisions. Take everything that I say with a grain of salt. Do your own research. I just like to put the stats out there, the facts, and obviously you need to take that and formulate your own opinions. But that seems to be where the market's heading. Something interesting to note actually is the BC Real Estate Association's chief economist, Cameron Meir, who has been probably one of the most optimistic guys of the real estate market. He's painted a very rosy picture over the last year and a half. They actually recently updated their quarterly predictions heading into 2017 just the other day. They're now predicting an 8.7% decrease in home prices in 2017. That's down. I think they had they had them actually in their last report, so only a couple months ago in their last report, they had prices going up 5.8% or something like that in 2017. Now they've got them going down 8.7, so it's almost a 15% reversal. They've changed their attitudes, their opinions by 15% over the last couple months. So I think, and that's coming from a source that has every intention to really pump the market up, to make it look good. I mean, obviously there's a vested interest there. So I think anytime that the real estate board is going to go ahead and tell you, brace for 8.7% correction into 2017, I think is something to definitely take note of. That 8.7 comes from them tallying up and combining the detached, the condo, and the townhouse market all in one, lumped in at 8.7%. So I mean, that could ultimately mean, I'm assuming you would think that the detached is going to come down in price more than the condos and townhouses as well. But 8.7, that's a 15% change. Again, I think that's still on the conservative side, but again, take everything I say with a grain of salt. Do your own homework, and hope that helped. Thanks.